2, 3, I don't know. I don't know what day it is anymore. It's been a few days since I poured this pour. And I did have to come back and add some of the brown and the black a little bit. Here's my mad scientist area over here where I've like mixed and now it's all just one solid piece. But I am just taking a little popsicle stick and testing out to see how hard everything is so that I can move on to the next step. This liquid glass did not bubble at all. I mean, I don't say at all because there was one right here that has been popped and it's just, it'll be covered up with the next pour so you won't even really be able to tell there's a bubble here. But I will say there was very few bubbles in this, this liquid glass resin. So that's nice. And it's set up nice. If I were to really try to indent, it's still soft enough where it's kind of like, I'm not going to say mushy by any means, but it's still kind of pliable. Can y'all see that? And then it kind of just returns to shape. I'm sure if I were to go all the way down at the bottom, it would maybe make it difficult to do that. But I think it's hard enough now that I could start setting some items on it and they won't sink all the way through because they're not heavy enough like to put so much pressure. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to get my hot glue gun out and I'm going to start setting up the little village here and how that's going to look. I wanted this to kind of mimic dirt, like a pathway leading this way. And then of course this is the black that's coming from the other table. That's, you know, so this is going to have like a little bit of a pathway leading to the village of the little characters. So that's what I'm going to do now. All right, it's taken me a few hours, but I think my little village is done. So I've basically hot glued tiny little pieces of grass, bushes, trees. One thing that I'm gonna be kind of concerned about is that the height of these, since I poured this, is gonna be over the wood. So there's a good difference here on how tall the miniatures are versus the wood. So there's gonna have to be a good amount of overpour on top, and I'm not gonna be able to sand it completely down to the wood. So hopefully it's okay. I don't know how that's gonna be with tying into the next board or the other desk piece. I'm just gonna have to wing it and see how it goes. If I have to take off any thickness, it's probably gonna have to be from the bottom side. So just see how that goes. But yeah, this is what I've settled upon, their little miniature village. And yeah, I'm hoping that when I do end up pouring the clear coat on top, that some of these like rocks and things that I tried to like Elmer's glue down, they're gonna float because they're not all secure. So I don't know how that all is going to play out. Really don't know. I might have some spray adhesive that I could try to spray down everything with. I need to go look. But other than trying that, I'm not sure how it all is going to work out. But I just glued down every little piece. Then we're going to pour the deep pour on it. That's next. We ended up having this contact adhesive that we actually used in our walls to put up the reflective insulation. We had some of this left. So I'm gonna just spray this area down, especially the little rocks, and hopefully it won't mess up the epoxy, but I'm just gonna lightly spray it and hopefully it'll just help the sand and the rocks not move around so much when we do the deep pour. Ooh. Okay. Some of it kind of like came out in little globs, and so I don't know if when I pour the clear epoxy over it, if that's gonna kind of just become one, or if that's gonna be a visual issue. Hopefully with the clear epoxy on it, it'll just all become one. But this has definitely helped make everything like stick more. I can tell everything's a little bit more sticky. All right, so I guess by the time I mix this next batch up, this should all kind of solidify and dry. And then we'll pour it. Okay. All right, I don't know what all you're gonna be able to see because it's a really hard angle. But I'm gonna have to pour super slow, and I'm gonna probably end up pouring on this side where there's not a whole lot going on, and then just let it slowly settle down here. I don't want to just dump it down here and just like whoosh everything this way. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to pour it this way. This is so heavy. I've mixed together almost 5 gallons. It's about 4.5 gallons of the clear epoxy. So I don't know how much that's gonna get me, but we're gonna go for it. Oh my goodness. Whew. And the good thing about this one is that it doesn't have a harsh smell. There's not neither did the other deep pour one, but that clear coat one sure did. Okay, this is gonna be something. All right. I have to have a lot of strength. Okay, no turning back. It's holding everything. It's holding this 5 gallon, like pouring slowly. All right, so far, so good. I'm not seeing anything too catastrophic. I don't know if y'all can tell how fast I'm pouring. We're almost to the end of the little green part, headed to the fire pit area. This is also going to give me a good idea on how the difference in height of wood to miniatures once we reach the tops of the wood planks. Okay, we're at the top of the wood planks and I can see what's going to be the issues. Definitely going to need to mix in another gallon at least. All right, so this is what it looks like immediately after the pour. So you can see some of it came up on the side, but it's still trying to make its way down on these little edges, work its way around. So it's gonna level itself out here in a minute. But as far as the rocks and the sand and everything goes, everything looks like it stayed in place. It's gonna be difficult to see with all the bubbles at first, but we'll get those out of here and then we can kind of get a better idea. I think the bubbles are going to be an issue just because I have so many little intricate things like the bushes and the grasses and the little items that's going to slowly release air. So I'm going to have to keep on top of the bubble issue so we don't end up like the other table where I had some late bubble. I mean, there's just some things I'm not going to be able to help, but hopefully I'll be able to mitigate some of that as they release. I like it. I like it so far. Okay, so I just did an initial quick bubble popping thing, but I just want to take a look at these little, this is already starting to release some air bubbles from the wood. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But you can see the tops of these. See this little lady's head sticking up. This little thing is sticking out. Some of the tops of the trees. So we're gonna need to go a little bit deeper with the epoxy. But I'm happy with the way that everything else didn't really move around too much. It kind of appears that, see these lighter green spots? This might be trapped air. So I might come through and try to poke it. Let's see. I have this little popsicle stick. I'm just gonna stick it down in here and see what's going on if I can't figure that out. It may just need some time to soak through. But yeah, this definitely feels like a pocket when I push on it. Oh, I pushed on this here and this air escaped, so it's probably a good thing that I'm trying to work all these air pockets out. Just don't want to scrape it too much. So I'll just be working on that for a little bit. It kind of messed up. So I anticipated, just like the other one, that I was going to have some late night bubbles that set up that I was going to have to somehow sand off, just like the other one. However, I don't know what happened where there's like, it almost looks like an additional pour happened, like some sort of reaction where I didn't pour anything back on top, but there's just some sections that look like there was like overflow or something. So I don't know what happened here. I also don't know what happened here. And I got super lucky because, well, I say I got lucky. I thought I got lucky, and maybe this is what happened. Maybe this is the reason why this looks the way it does, because I did not realize that this side, this section, popped open. And there's an open seam down here and right here and over here. Nothing, to my knowledge, leaked out over here, but I'm guessing as this was setting up, this separated, see right here? That actually held pretty good. So, but this split, and I thought that, I didn't realize, but I just now saw that this leaked down here. Look at this. All the way to the floor, which I should be able to, well, it's not a whole lot, but it definitely ended up on the ground. Can you see this underneath? Like, that's not a surface bubble. That's a down below bubble. There's some areas that had trapped air and it stayed trapped. And I guess it tried to make its way out. So there's kind of some major ones right here and right here. Kind of over here. This one's not so bad, but this one, I hate that this did this. I don't know what this is an air bubble. I know it's dark, but it's actually an air bubble. But this white, I want to say, is maybe the glue that like got dragged along. So now this is white, and I do not like the way it looks. So I don't know what I'm gonna do here. But I am gonna try something with this edge. There's a trapped bubble right here that tried to make its way up the side. And because it's towards the edge, I'm gonna try to do some surgery on this table and just see if my idea will work. My idea is I wanna drill with the smallest drill bit I have down to the channel of the air. And then I wanna see if I can't take a needle and inject this epoxy down into this air pocket and see if it won't fill it in. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if the epoxy will be too thick for the needle to even make it out. I got the biggest gauge that I owned. And you're probably wondering, where did I set them? Oh, they're over here. Probably like, Stephanie, why do you even have needles and syringes? It's because we have animals and we live on a farm and we frequently have to give injections and medications and things. So I've got a 18 gauge 1-inch needle that I'm gonna try to see if I can't operate on this table. It's literally operation. And if it works towards the end where I could maybe just cut this off if it really messes it up or cracks it or something, if it works, then maybe I can try to fix some of these more major pockets that are super noticeable. This one, I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's white. I might have to drill from the underside and somehow flip this table over when everything is set and then try to drill this out and refill it in. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to fix it if I can. So yeah, let's try that first. I have to tell y'all something funny. So I just ran inside the house to get some plastic cups to do some small mixing amounts, and Buddy's home for lunch. And I had the container set out where all of our animal medication and syringes and stuff on the counter. He goes, "Why is the animal medication stuff out?" And I was like, "I can't tell you." And he was like, "What? You can't tell me why the medication for the animals is out?" And I was like, "Nope, it's part of the project." And he was like, "What?" Like, if he had any clue or any idea, because I've been using power tools and stuff, it really truly blew his mind, which I think is so funny. Because I can't tell him that I'm doing surgery on his table with a needle. Genius. Think I got to it. I might have just been to the left of it. Oh my gosh. I think I need to go a little, I don't know what to do. I need to get to like the right of it somehow. Dang. I don't know. I can't see what I'm hitting anymore. I'm just gonna try. Because I'm just gonna try and see what it looks like when I fill this in. And see if it even will work first. I've mixed up a tiny little amount. Got my needle. Hopefully it's not too thick that it won't. No, it's coming in. All right. This is crazy, y'all. Right. Going in. Well, it filled the hole, and it's a bit cloudy because I think the little particles that I was drilling out, it's just so distorted because it's like what you think that you're gonna be over and what you're actually over. It's like shoving the little pieces in it, which is not good. All right, so the one on the right is the one I just kind of filled back in. And the one in the middle, do you see at the bottom how it's turning white? I don't know if that's just the little particles that are from the drill site that are like, it's hard to see, making its way into the bubble. I'm not sure what to do about that. Truth is, maybe I just need I hate to say it, but maybe I need like a bigger drill bit. I'll try to get all the way down in there. See, it's just not, it's just pulling at the top. It's not even making its way down into the bubble. All right, I'm gonna just try again with a larger drill bit. Kind of in the same general area. Well, it's a bigger hole, but it's like I need a tiny vacuum or something. Here's what I think I need to do. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, because I actually struggled with this when I was learning how to do honey straws. So forcing a liquid through a tube that has no air to escape doesn't work. I just don't know. I don't know what to do about the white, because I really think, see all this white stuff? It's the epoxy that comes off of the drill. And I think when I make it to the air pocket, all that white epoxy just shoots in there. So, I don't know. I am not sure if my idea is going to work or make it worse. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit. And even because my other concern is that I made these drill marks, which you can see, these little pillars now that are coming up from that bubble. And I need to make sure that the epoxy will settle in there and almost mask it, because if it doesn't, and I'm going to have a bunch of these little drill marks all throughout, that's going to be a problem too. So I think I'm just going to need to let this sit for a little bit and see what happens. All right, we're back on the next day after I drilled those holes, and I just don't like the way that it even set up. You can still see the drill marks. They're fuzzy even after I filled them in. But guys, I just realized, because I'm going to take this off today, I think it's set up enough that I can take this off, why this leaked. And I was coming around to unscrew everything, like the side of it, to break it up. But I realized I didn't put a screw in here. So the only thing that was keeping this together was the silicone. And it did its best for as long as it could. But this side wasn't tightened down, so it pulled back. Now I did put screws in the bottom here and this one over here, but had I put a screw here, this should not have leaked. So this was user error. This was my bad. There's no screw in the top right here, so it naturally pushed away with the weight of everything. So that's the mystery solved on that. Okay, so I removed this side wall just so I can see. This is where I drilled those holes down. And I'm thinking I'm going to drill in from the side, from the bottom, to see if that works any better. Okay, another epoxy table update. Yesterday I worked all day in here, all day. And mainly I was working on getting out some of these bubbles underneath, and a lot of them are a little bit less noticeable. There are some that I need to continue to work on. This one up here still has a few really noticeable ones, and then the trail that you can kind of see I filled in a little bit. But another thing I did is this little fire pit area, I drilled it out from the back side. See this hole? And I've been playing around with some of these little tea lights. So I took this apart and just was seeing if it would be bright enough to show through. And I mean, hold on. It kind of, you can kind of see it. You see that flicker? I don't know if it's going to be worth it. There's so many bubbles in there, guys. So I don't know if it'll be worth it to actually leave this in here or to try to drill it out more to give some more surface area. So we'll see. But while I was kind of waiting on this one, which is so heavy, I can't even lift it back on here. I need Bree's help to help me lift this table. I used some of the rock and sand and everything that I had, and I spray painted it. And then I created these little, this is just temporary, these little mounds that I'm going to use in the next table build. I wanted them to kind of set up. I poured epoxy all over them. I just did some like, so it kind of looks like lava-ish. Just so I could start building the scene for the last table to build. I can't believe I still have one more table. I also think I'm gonna need to do another one of these. This one seems to have like warped and run its course, and if I were to pour another table on this, it's gonna be bumpy and ridgy and probably not come off the table as well as I'd like. I could use the back side. I might do that and just tape this back side since it's not so, I mean, it is a little bendy, but I feel like if once I lay it flat, it should flatten out. But these seem to be okay. I just need to clean them up with all the residual silicone, so I can re-silicone it completely. But this is what I'll be doing. I'll be doing some touch-up work for the next couple days, cutting the next boards while this other one sets up completely, because I filled in these little holes, well, some of the holes. Some of them I have to wait to fill in, but I filled in some of these holes with the epoxy to try to clear up some of those bubbles, but they need time to cure before I can sand this one down. So I'm just gonna wait on this one to sand it, and I'll start working on the first table and the last table while the middle one is setting up.
On the Denman homestead, where the sun sets golden in the west, we live in harmony with nature, doing what we love best. From the garden to the kitchen, and the bees inside their hive. On the Denman homestead, come along and plant, nourish, thrive.